Alright, so it's been a pretty interesting week for our Lord and Savior, the Sonic the Hedgehog, and we've got a lot we need to talk about. It seems SEGA are doing a little bit of backtracking, you know, their whole delisting the whole dark ages of Sonic because they wanted to appeal to the masses and all that shit. And the Sonic movie sequel is coming out on Blu-ray, and as a result, we've gotten a new animated short and some deleted scenes. So there's a lot going on right now that we need to talk about. But if you haven't subscribed to the channel already, please make sure to subscribe. We are trying to hit 100,000 subscribers and hopefully 7,000 subscribers before Sonic Frontiers comes out. So as the self-proclaimed leader of the 06 boys, I feel like it's only necessary that I talk about this and also partially take some credit. After over a decade, Sonic 06 has been relisted on the Xbox 360 store. This has been noticed by multiple people. I was getting comments about it. Wario64 has posted it here with a screenshot showing that you can now buy 06 digitally for $4.99 on Xbox 360, but unfortunately it's not backwards compatible as Microsoft basically stopped doing backwards compatibility because they couldn't be bothered to deal with the licensing issues that were coming as a result of that. And people have proven that you can in fact purchase it. For those of you in the UK, it is £3.39, and personally my 360 is, well, on my desk, but the cables, I don't know where they are. I just keep it on my desk because I like having it there, but it's not actually plugged into anything. But I'm tempted to go and find my power cable and my controller just so I can buy this and have it digitally, so I don't have to leave the disc in there when I play, because quite frankly the 360 you just like put the disc in just as a form of verification because you're already downloading the game to the hard drive so it loads faster. Not that I'm going to be playing much of it on the 360 anyway because I've got the 360 emulator on my PC, Xenia. But it's nice to know that they're actually relisting the game after over a decade. Now you have to remember, SEGA were not proud of Dark Age games like 06 and Unleashed because they didn't perform well critically, and a lot of fans were bitching and moaning because back then the classic fanboys ran the whole franchise. So us little kiddies who like games like Unleashed, and some of us also liked 06, we weren't being taken seriously. Ironically, then they made Colors to really appeal to the kiddies and also the classic fanboys. Colors really appealed to children and adults, but everyone in between was like, fuck this shit. Well, not everyone, but you know what I mean. Like, Colors appealed to children and then adults who grew up with classic Sonic, and then the people in the middle, like the teenagers who grew up with like the adventure games, are like, what the fuck is this? You got everyone but us. But the question remains, why would SEGA actually re-release 06 or put it back on the store, relist it? And the answer is 06 is fucking lit and everyone needs to shut the fuck up. I'm sorry. I was getting a little bit fanboy there. I don't know. I feel like they finally just succumb to the fact that 06 is not the lowest point of the franchise anymore. I mean, obviously at the point which it came out, it was, but that was a long time ago. I mean, the point from Sonic 1 to 06 is shorter than the point from 06 to now. Franchise has been running for a long time. It had the biggest shock factor, right? Because it was the first time Sonic Team had a major blunder ever. But as I've said before, there have been lower points since then, at least within Sonic and SEGA, that 06 no longer is the lowest point of the franchise. I've gone over this before, but there are several contenders for lower than 06, right? I would argue Colors Ultimate, with what it had on launch, was horrible, and it's a contender for lower than 06. It was objectively less stable. There were seizure-inducing glitches, frequent crashes, like not just glitches and death, crashes of the game. People's games got corrupted and they had to re-download. People's save files got deleted and they had to start again. Things that never happened with 06. 06 is more like you died in a ridiculous way and you lost progress. I would argue that the first movie design was arguably also a lower point than 06, but luckily they fixed that one. Colors Ultimate, they kind of did their best to patch it a little bit, but you know, it's still not really the greatest remaster. Forces were just bland as fuck to the point where people are doing Forces versus 06 comparisons on polls and shit, and it's kind of a 50-50 on which one wins when people do these polls. I mean, you're essentially comparing fun but unstable to bland as fuck but stable, and I guess it depends on your personal preferences which one you pick. And even though those previous examples I mentioned were somewhat debatable, I guess, Rise of Lyric objectively scored worse amongst critics and users if we look at Metacritic, so that is objectively worse. It's just that because it's so boring and forgettable, 06 still gets talked about more. It's like the more iconic fail, if that makes sense. It's technically not as bad, but more iconic. Again, because it was the first major one. See, when they failed with Rise of Lyric or Colors Ultimate, you shouldn't have really been surprised because Sega been fucking off for ages. But with 06, it was like, I trusted you. The last thing you dropped was the GOAT. Not Shadow, obviously that was like a spin-off. But the last thing you dropped was Sonic Hero. You dropped the greatest game ever made, and then you gave us this right after? Like, the shock factor. But now it's like with Frontiers, everyone's like, we'll see. Maybe it'll be good. Maybe it won't. Like, we don't even have that same expectation anymore, so they can't shock us the same way they did back then. It's just like, there's an old saying in Tennessee, I know it's in Texas, probably in Tennessee, that says, fool me once, shame on you. You fool me, you can't get fooled again. Anyway, them putting it back is them kind of saying that they respect the opinions of those who grew up with these games and those who have learnt to appreciate it and those who always liked it. I mean, they put Unleashed back on the store. They added backwards compatibility for Unleashed, so now it runs at 60 FPS on Xbox Series X. And before that, it was running on Xbox One, even though Generations got the 4K bump up, so Generations still got the extra treatment. But they've been slowly, like, respecting those era of games, and this is the first step. What? I don't even want to say the first step, because they did put 06 on PS Now only in Japan, because in Japan 06 was actually better received than in the West. But for everyone else to have 06 available to purchase brand new, like it's not just buying an old copy in a game store or just on eBay, to have it available to purchase, I mean, Sega just like, you know what, we can't hide this anymore, let's just put this back out there. You know, there's no point pretending it doesn't exist. Everyone knows it exists, just put it on there, and those who want to buy it will buy it, right? I'm not saying that means they're gonna re-release it. That doesn't even mean that we'll see backwards compatibility. The only thing it guarantees that we'll be seeing is articles referencing the Kiss to get a few points of clout. It's also possible that they saw the success of P06 and the traction it was gaining, and they're like, huh, we could cash in on this, you know? And you might be thinking, oh, if they're playing P06, why would they play the original 06 or want to purchase that? And it's like, well, curiosity maybe? Like, they played P06, they're like, huh, let's play the original, you know, for the people that didn't grow up with the original. So they're going to just purchase it on their well, if they didn't grow up with the original, will they still have a 360 right now? I don't know. But that attention could trickle in some sales. Also, some people just have a natural preference for the original, because preferences exist, and every remake in existence will have people prefer the original. That's just how the world works. Not everyone is going to by default prefer the remake. The fact that 06 is more officially accessible than Heroes right now in terms of purchasing it is actually crazy. Like, the way they've abandoned Heroes, like, it really hurts my heart, but Sega's no stranger to hurting my heart. So anyway, it's time to talk about the multimedia yet again. We've got Sonic Drone Home. Wheezy, I'm sorry. So Pat Casey, screenwriter of Sonic Movie 2, says, fresh content alert, Josh and I wrote the animated short film Sonic Drone Home that will be available tomorrow when you purchase a digital copy of Sonic 2. We're excited for people to finally see it. It's pretty fun. Sonic Drone Home takes place shortly after the events of Sonic 2, so it's out now, the full version. They posted a 1-minute teaser before, but now they got the full 4-minute animation. But yeah, to summarize my thoughts on the animation, I think it was a pretty decent animation, although it was definitely giving off Boom cartoon-esque vibes. I mean, not in the budget. I mean, this looks far superior visually. I mean, I don't think there was any live action involved there. I mean, the leaves and stuff looked pretty real, but I think it's all CGI. And honestly, it looked pretty solid. I would have been fine if the movies even looked like that, to be honest, or even the Knuckles spin-off show, which I think the Knuckles spin-off show is still live action. But in terms of like the comedy, it felt very Boom cartoon, very meta era inspired. And I mean, technically we're in the multimedia era now, but the meta era humor has not completely left, even though we're now in the multimedia era. They went from fighting the robot to the robot reciting poetry, which again, very meta era. Tails being a bitch boy, very meta era. Knuckles being more idiotic, more comedic, you know, starting to lean into that meta era shit. He wasn't as serious as he was in the movie, which is kind of the problem with Knuckles. He starts off all serious and mad at everyone and like, oh, it's the Emerald and this, that, and then eventually once that arc is done, it's like, okay, he's gonna become friends with the gang, he's gonna be less serious, right? It's harder to keep that going. It's kind of like Shadow the Hedgehog off the SA2. Like, once you have such a great arc in your origin story, how do you keep the momentum going without the inevitable Flanderization? I mean, there's a reason why Flanderization happens with characters in general. It's because it's hard to just do the same thing over and over again. So they might try and play him off as more idiotic for laughs. And it'll be interesting to see if the Knuckles spin-off TV show is able to refrain from turning Knuckles into essentially Boom Knuckles, and if they can still have him have some integrity while still being mildly gullible and stupid. Mildly stupid, obviously. And yeah, I was able to confirm that it was in fact different voice actors for Tails and Knuckles. So we've got Alison Packard for Tails and Fred Tatasciore for Knuckles. I don't know if I pronounced that correctly. They're saying that the budget for Sonic Drone Home wasn't as high to accommodate its production size, thus someone like Idris Elba might not have been in the bonus features budget. But we know he's coming back for the Knuckles spin-off. But for Tails though, I'm surprised they couldn't get Colleen. She too bougie. It's kind of funny because all of you lot were like, Ben Schwartz, you know, would never do a Sonic TV show or the games or anything like that because he's too big to stoop up to the level of, you know, all that shit, but he's doing the animated shorts. I fully believe, I'm not saying it's gonna happen, but I fully believe if Sega said, we want you to voice Sonic in the games, Ben would take Roger's job in an instant. He wouldn't even think about it. He wouldn't even sleep on it. He would take the job, okay? Idris, probably not. He's probably not gonna be voicing Knuckles in Frontiers or some shit. I don't think Idris would bother with that shit, okay? Ben loves voicing Sonic. From what I've seen, there is no way that he would turn that down. He would probably take the lower rate just so he could say he's the definitive voice of Sonic. I'm not saying that's gonna happen again, but the way people are acting like, Ben, it's up here and he would never stoop to voicing Sonic in this place, and listen, he would do it. And it's clear here where they couldn't even get Colleen to voice Tails in this animated short. They had to go and find someone else, but Ben stayed. But yeah, there's also a bunch of deleted scenes for the movie. I'm not gonna react to them here because quite frankly, I don't know how many there are and how to find all of them. I'm looking for like a compilation video that has all of them in it, but I haven't seen that yet. If anyone's got any ideas where to find that, you can let me know. But I might do a reaction to that if you guys want to see it. But yeah, let me know what you guys think about the information we talked about today. Sonic 06 has been relisted, giving the 06 boys a much needed win in the sea of 06 hate. Will you be busting out your 360 to play this? And what did you think of Sonic Drone Home? Did you like the animation? How does it rank to other Sonic animations? In terms of favorite animated shorts from Sonic, like shorts, not like TV shows and movies, I still think Team Sonic Racing Overdrive was probably my favorite one. That was pretty lit. Specifically part 2, I have to specify specifically part 2. And of course, a big shout out to my members. Their names will be on the screen. If you want to become a member, you can click the join button next to the subscribe button. But yeah, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, hit that bell. Make sure to check out the non-Sonic channel. The link will be in the description. But that's all I have to say right now. So, Remy out.